Hey guys, welcome to a very interesting video for this channel. As you guys can tell by the title, today we are going to be talking about plastic surgery. Now, before I go into this video, I want to make a very big disclaimer, and that is that I think that every different type of person is beautiful. I think that beauty is not defined by what you actually look like, but in the fact that our bodies can look a spectrum of ways, whether you're short or tall or thin or bigger, or your complexion is pale to darker tones. I think the fact that we can look so many different ways is beautiful and should be celebrated. I also want to say that what my opinion of myself is not necessarily what I think would look best on other people. I have red hair, but sometimes red hair wouldn't look good on other people, and I don't think that just because I dye my hair red that everyone should dye their hair red. It's how I feel most comfortable and how I best express my own personality. So that being said, I want to make sure that we keep the conversation in the comments below very civil, and it's great to give your opinion, and I hope that this type of video sparks conversation. So please leave your thoughts in the comments below and let me know what you think. Now, I want to talk about this because I think it's a very interesting conversation to be had. When someone is either underweight and they want to gain weight, or somebody is overweight and they want to lose weight, typically they're met with lots of encouragement and you can do it and good for you, right? When women dye their hair, it's not really a big deal. In fact, 70% of women in North America dye their hair. So how come these changes in bodies are usually met with positive or they're given compliments, but when we talk about plastic surgery, there's often a connotation that's really not very good. In fact, I put out a survey on my own Twitter account and it had 4,637 votes. Now, obviously that's not a sample of what everybody in the world thinks, but it's a pretty good sampling. And of those, 35% of you said that you felt that plastic surgery was bad or overall completely unnecessary. 9% said most cosmetic surgery is good, and 56% of people said, I don't care either way, right? So then I said, okay, well, why? Why is it bad or why is it good? And here are the words that you guys chose to describe whether you were pro or whether you were con. Now, a lot of the people who were pro used words that are typically negative. They would say things like insecure, not confident. A lot of people use the word human, right? And over here on this side, we have people who claimed that people who get plastic surgery are vain or they're insecure. They use those words in an actual negative connotation. And it was curious to me because 51% of Americans report working out at least 3 days a week, and nobody really views that negatively. 10% of women are diagnosed with depression in the US, so we can probably safely assume that most women aren't dyeing their hair because they're vain or they hate their bodies or because they need a boost in confidence. A lot of the times women dye their hair because that's just how they feel good, because it's how they best express themselves or how they feel they look the best. In a survey done in the UK, 5,000 women were interviewed, and only 3% of women said that they felt totally happy with their bodies. And 65% said that they felt that their lives would improve significantly if they could make the changes to their body that they want. So again, why is there a stigma? I can dye my hair, I can go to the gym and either gain or lose weight, but if I have a slant in my nose that's crooked, I can't fix that. If I want my boobs to be bigger or smaller than what I was born with, there's really no way for me to do that other than binding them or wearing bras every day of my life, which are pretty uncomfortable and can get in the way. It's a hassle, right? We can change certain things about our bodies and certain things that we can't. So how come some of them are met with criticism and some of them are met with positive reviews and compliments? It was really interesting to me, and I feel like the problem is that a lot of people don't know about plastic surgery. They don't talk about it. In fact, when I posted those questions, I had so many people DM me and say, hey, if you're looking into plastic surgery, let me talk to you about it. Hey, I want to make sure that if you have questions, I can answer them. Or, hey, thanks for speaking out about this because it's something that I don't want to talk about because I don't want people to judge me. And it's really interesting because the people that were replying to me aren't vain, they're not insecure, they're not terrible people who are just obsessed with their own being and their bodies. They're not perfectionists searching to get attention. They're normal people who want to feel better about themselves in ways that the only way to fix it are, well, to get plastic surgery. I read through the comments that a lot of you put on Twitter, and many of you said that you felt that plastic surgery was only necessary if it came about from something like a car accident or an injury or a burn. And a lot of you felt that if it were something elective, it was a con, it meant that you were vain. But how come if I sustained an injury and didn't like the way that my nose was crooked, it would be okay? But if I was born with it that way, I should just learn to love myself. It's a lot easier to say that we should just drop our insecurities and be happy with who we are than it is to admit that sometimes no matter what you do, you'll think that you were just not born the way that you felt that you should have been. Tattoos and piercings are a common way to express the way that we feel about ourselves, and yet plastic surgery, which is sometimes equally as dangerous or non-dangerous as a tattoo or a piercing, is seen so much different. And I can't speak for everybody out there and say why this exists or why this mentality happens. All I can do is just tell you guys the information that you're giving me and the opinions that I've seen for myself after having these discussions on social media. Now, why all of the sudden am I interested in getting people's opinions and discovering why people feel the way that they do or what negative or positive words they have when they associate it with plastic surgery? Well, I had a friend on Twitter the other day who was talking about getting a breast augmentation, and I wanted to respond to her and tell her about my own experiences of having a breast augmentation 3 years ago. But I stopped myself because I was so concerned about what people would think about me if they knew that I had had plastic surgery. In fact, I've had plastic surgery done while I've been a YouTuber, and not a single person I don't think has ever commented or pointed it out. I also asked you guys on Twitter to describe me in a tweet, and I got this remark. Most of you used words like beautiful, caring, mom, confident, secure, words that are completely polar opposite to what you guys feel about people who have plastic surgery. My point in this video is to get you guys to understand that not everybody who gets plastic surgery, or probably most people who get plastic surgery, fall into this negative category. Obviously, everybody who has surgery has had it for their own reasons. There are an infinite number of reasons that people get plastic surgery. A lot of you guys said that you thought that seeking out like counseling or a mental professional to help you accept who you are was an important step prior to getting plastic surgery. But not everybody who gets plastic surgery struggles enough that they have to talk to a therapist to feel comfortable with who they are. Sometimes we're just not comfortable with the way that our bodies were born. I personally was great until I hit puberty very late in my teen years, and my body changed significantly. I always felt like I was not exactly even shaped, and therefore when I became an adult and I had the extra income to be able to afford it, I got a breast augmentation so that I could align with the way that I thought my body would look best. And I'm completely happy with it. Of course, every now and then I wish I didn't have a stretch mark or cellulite, but overall I'm pretty happy with my body. I may work out, I may do different things, but I'm not unhappy. And in fact, the confidence that I've gained from having that surgery when I go out and wear certain types of clothes has given me more benefit than I had ever before I had the surgery done. It was worth it for me, and I would do it again. Now, some statistics behind what you may know is you may be going, oh my gosh, this is terrible, this is revolutionary, and she's one of the only people who's ever had this done, and now I'm gonna make my judgment. Actually, 1 in 26 women in the United States have had or currently have breast implants. I discovered after I had my own done that I would bring it up in conversation, and I would have so many people come up to me afterwards and be like, I really want to get it done, but I'm really scared of what people will think. Talk to me about what your experience was like. I've had tons of people be like, yeah, no, me too. Women that are 50 years old and women that are 20 years old and women that are in their 30s, women who got breast implants because their bodies changed after they had kids, women who got implants because they didn't feel like their bodies matched after puberty like me, women who have had breast reductions because they felt that their boobs were too big. None of these things are necessary, but in terms of somebody's mental health and the way that they feel about themselves, is it really unnecessary? Is it okay for women to make changes, or men for that matter, to their bodies with surgery if it helps them? Now, obviously, we like to see all of these stories about women or men who go in and have 42 plastic surgeries done at one time, or people who become addicted to plastic surgery. And while those things are really real, it's a minority of people. It is not the case for everyday people. In fact, there were a total of about 20 million plastic surgeries done last year. Let me break down these stats for you. There were 5.8 million reconstructive cosmetic surgeries. That's for you people who were saying that it should only happen if you're a burn victim or you have a tumor or you get cancer. That's how many plastic surgeries were done. 5.8 million of those. 1.7 were considered invasive cosmetic surgeries, which are boob jobs and tummy tucks and butt implants and all that stuff that you guys like to see celebrities have and talk about and hubbub about. There were 1.7 million of those. There were 14 million non-invasive cosmetic surgeries, things that you don't have to be knocked out for. And those are things like Botox or lip injections. So a total of almost 20 million surgeries were performed last year for people to feel better about the way they look. That's a pretty significant number. But going back to that, less than 10% of people in the United States suffer from clinical depression. So you're looking at all of the amounts of people who are having surgeries, and we can safely assume that it's not because everybody is vain and because everybody struggles with depression or because it's bad. I want you guys to realize that people who get cosmetic surgery are normal, healthy, energetic, fun, smart, capable, talented, confident people who are just like losing or gaining weight or dyeing your hair, looking to make a change in the only way that it's able for them to do it. And that happens to be through surgery. Sometimes, again, it's because they've had kids, or sometimes it's because they've lost a dramatic amount of weight. And those aren't necessary by, the fact that having, a skin flap or having smaller or bigger boobs isn't life-threatening. But someone's mental well-being and the way that they view themselves is incredibly important. Going back to that number that 93% of women studied in the UK with that 5,000 women study were unhappy by the way they looked and felt that they would be completely confident if they could change the things that they want. It was 65%. I want you guys to realize that these are very common things. It is very normal. It's okay to explore these options. And for you to pass judgment or assume that somebody is vain because they've had something done or because they want attention, it's just not right. Like any stereotype, sometimes they're true, but more times than not, that's not the case at all. So that being said, I want you guys to have discussions, talk about these. Give me your feedback. Does it change the way that you feel about me as a person? You guys listed me as secure and confident and funny and outgoing and all these other things. Does that change the person that I was 13 minutes ago before I started this video? Does it change that I'm no longer those things? You guys can go back to previous videos of mine from before I had surgeries done, and I'm not much different of a person. I may have shorter hair or wear different makeup, but overall my personality is pretty much the same. I also want to make sure that everybody understands that I'm not doing this video encouraging everybody to go out and get plastic surgery to fix their problems. Plastic surgery is not always the answer to being unhappy with your body. When you meet with a plastic surgeon or a doctor, it is extremely important that you are transparent and honest with them about the way that you feel about your body and the mental state in which you're in at the time. Those can have severe effects on whether or not you should or should not get plastic surgery. I have had friends who have had plastic surgery and end up regretting that decision and going back and having those procedures reversed later. Sometimes those reversals are possible and sometimes they are not. It is not an easy decision and not something that you should go into lightly. You should discuss it with your doctor, you should discuss it with your loved ones, but ultimately it is your body and it is your decision. You need to do your research, you need to think about it long and hard and give yourself plenty of time, years even, to confirm that it is something that you want to do. It is not something to be taken lightly, and it is not something that is as easy as just going out and getting your hair cut. It is very, very different. And I want everybody to make sure that when you make a decision like that, you are fully educated, you are fully informed, and you are fully confident in the decision that you're making. I also want to remind you guys that I do not think you have to have a breast augmentation to be beautiful. I have tons of friends that have gorgeous, amazing bodies, and they are completely confident having a smaller chest size. I have friends that are happy with their bodies when they have more weight on them, and happy with other friends that have less weight on them. It's totally up to an individual to make those decisions and what is happy for themselves. I will also tell you that if somebody that you love, a friend, a family member, confronts you about wanting plastic surgery or telling you that they want it, it is not a very nice thing to say, but I like you the way that you are, please don't do it. The way that you view someone else has nothing to do with their own mental well-being. If somebody is fully cognizant and aware and have explored the options of having plastic surgery and they've done their research, it is not really up to you to dictate how happy they are with their body. It's their body, it's their choice. And if they're happiest by making a change, you should be supportive, as long as it's not harmful to themselves, which most plastic surgeries, obviously there's always a risk when you go under a knife or go under anesthesia. Usually, these are very routine outpatient surgeries. I thank you guys for watching. Again, I hope to read your comments below, and I will talk to you in-game soon. Now, if that was too serious for you, and you need some quirky videos and some great glittery pick-me-ups and awesome gameplay, you should click on this video here, or this one here. So, I mean, whatever you're in the mood for. I mean, this one's pretty good, but I mean, this one was amazing as always. So thank you again for watching, and I hope I'll see you in one of these.